Hey guys, Sigma has been you welcome, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of my favorite games. And as you can see here, we have the Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, and just before I get into that, I would like to say sorry for not making another one of these videos for a little bit. It's been about 2-ish months now, I guess. I think my last one was of like Slain or Abzu, so yeah, it's been a little while, but I mean, I had to play games, finish them, and then I had to be like, yeah, I really like this game for me to do a review on it. So this is not actually what I'm reviewing. I am reviewing the Insane Trilogy of these, but I do not have that anymore. I bought it on the day of its release for $20 cash because EB Games had a hell of a trade-in deal where you trade in any two PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or Switch games, and you get the Crash Trilogy for only $20 cash. So I did that, so I was really happy to do that, and I got the awesome Trilogy for only 20 bucks. And I went home, and I played through all three of them to completion, and I did okay. I forgot just how hard they were, but just on the subject of that one, those games were really good. The remasters of them were really well done. They kept it pretty basic. There was nothing super like different about them. Like if you played them and then went back and played these, you'd go, yeah, these are still the same game. They just improved the graphics, improved the sound, did a little bit of new voice acting. Like I really noticed in number 2, the first boss has a completely different voice, and I don't think it suits him quite as well, but it was fine. And yeah, it was just really good. The music in the game was crazy nice. I mean, I'm going to be playing a little bit of music in the background for this one, hopefully. So yeah, it was really well done, and I was really impressed by it. And it was my first time playing through the first Crash Bandicoot, so I'll start with that one. Firstly, I played Crash Bandicoot 1, and the intro sequences are all redone as well, which are really nice. And this is the first game in the series. It's regarded by a lot of people as the best one. I don't agree with that, but I think it's still really good. It's a really good starting point for the series. Like, you play this game and you instantly know everything you'll need to know about the rest of the series. You play as this character here, whose name is Crash Bandicoot, and he's supposed to be like a radical kind of Bubsy ripoff, I guess, but like, it's done in a kind of way that it's almost a cheesy parody. Like, it's very self-aware of how, like, kind of silly it is. And you have to go through the game, going over levels, and it's all platforming, 3D platforming, but for the most part, you're not running around like a big 3D open world. You're running through, kind of like hallways or corridors of levels, I guess. Like, you can see the size of levels where there'll be like more stuff, but you can't go and explore there. And like, in this day and age, that might sound like a bad thing, you know, in a game industry where like open world stuff and being able to explore everywhere is like really nice. But back then, it was pretty much the norm, and I think it's fine. Like, it keeps it very simple, and that's okay with me. It's a really hard game. It's really hard. You only have 2 forms of attack. You have a spin attack, so like you spin and you hit an enemy, and for the most part that kills enemies. Sometimes there are enemies that are resistant to it, like if they have spikes on them or something, you'll have to jump on their head, and that's the second way you can beat enemies. And that all works really well. Platforming is really good. Sometimes I mistimed my jumps, especially on like there's a level called Bridge to Nowhere, I think that's what it's called. And it's even harder than like Dragon's Airy in Dark Souls 2 with all those bridges and the dragons. Like, you have to do like such like perfect platforming to get through the level, and I'll admit I kinda cheesed it at the end. I looked up something to make it a little bit easier. You can jump on top of like a rope on the bridge and just run across that if you're perfect. Like, if you're square on it. If you're like to the sides of it a little, you just fall off to your death, but I did that for the last part just because I was dying so much, I was doing so badly. But I got through it, and a lot of levels which were said to be like super hard, I didn't have that much difficulty with them. Like, I think the Lost City was one of the names of the levels. I didn't have that much trouble with that. I maybe died like 2 or 3 times. But I did die quite a few times in most of the later levels. Like a lot of the earlier levels, I was like, yeah, it's not too hard, it's fine. A lot of the later levels, really difficult. Yeah, it's a really good starting point for the series. Music is good. I can't really remember any of the music, so it wasn't that memorable, but it was fine. All of the sound effects and stuff are good, and the platform is good, so that was the first game. Ooh, and in the story, you have to get to the bad guy in Neo Cortex. You have to go all the way up to his like secret lair, which is a blimp. So you have to climb up a mountain, then you jump on top of his blimp. And then you fight him and you rescue your girlfriend, which is cool. And you can collect gems in the levels as well, and you collect them by destroying every box and not dying, which I think I only did like once or twice, so it's pretty difficult. And then it's kind of odd, but she just kind of disappears from the series, her girlfriend, and she's replaced by another character who I don't know what she is. I think she's supposed to be a sister. And she is introduced in Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. This one kind of changes the series and sets up the kind of the level system for the rest of the series, where you have like portals that take you to the level instead of just like going across a map, which is, it's good. I kind of like the first one where you're on this big overworld map and you're choosing levels. Like, it's a little bit like Donkey Kong Country in that way, but this one you just go through levels using like a teleporter, and each like world has its own individual levels, which is fine. It's fine. And you still have like bosses and stuff, but you have to beat all of the levels in a section before you can face the boss. Then you can go up one more level until you eventually reach Neo Cortex again. So in this one, it introduces crystals, which are a power source, and you have to get enough crystals to activate the boss door, and then once you beat the boss, you can go up to the next section. And Neo Cortex has, I don't remember what he's done. I think he's just kidnapped you, and I think he's kidnapped you or your sister, and then you have to go and finish all the levels and eventually beat him. This one's really good, probably my favorite in the series. They introduced another attack option in this, which is really, really nice. The sliding attack, and there are a lot of enemies in this one where you need to slide to beat them, so I like that. It's a little bit more complex than the first game, but it still keeps it pretty simple. It's still like simple platforming fun. And the music in this is way better than the first one. I just like to think of this one as like, if the first game was a prototype, this is the finished product. Like, this is the game they were trying to make when they made the first one, so it's like, it's perfect. And you're collecting crystals, and you have to go to the levels. You can also get like other crystals, so there's a lot of replayability. Like, if you want to 100% complete the game, you'll have to go through each level like 3 times, I think. And there are hidden levels that you can get to. There are like if you go through enough of a level without dying, you can ride it's like a floating tablet on the floor, and if you die before you get to it, it won't be there. If you don't die before you get to it, it'll be there. You can jump on it and go to another area where you can go and get a different kind of crystal, which is pretty cool. It's like, it definitely lends itself to replayability, and a lot of people replay this one a lot. Yeah, the bosses are all really good in this one. It has my favorite boss fight in the series, where you have the where you're throwing apples at one of the let me think, like the assistant of Neo Cortex, and that's really fun. Like, he's in a big robot and you just throw apples to slowly break the pieces of him. It's really cool. And the final boss fight, it's kinda I think I finished it in 2 goes, but yeah, it's still good. Yeah, they introduced something really cool in this. They had in the first game for only 1 level, and you ride an animal, which is really fun. In the first game, you only do it once. In the first world, you ride a warthog. In this game, you're constantly riding on this bear. And these bear levels are a real nice addition. Like, they break up the action a little bit and make it a little bit, like, different. Like, they're different kinds of levels, which is really nice. So that's the second game, my favorite game in the series. And the third game, which I don't know how other people think of this one, but I do enjoy this one. I don't think it's as good as the others, just because I think they try and do a little bit too much in this. Like, so for this one, the idea for the levels is the same as the second game, where you go through portals and stuff, and you have to unlock each portal, collect a crystal, and then once you have enough crystals, you unlock a boss fight. So you do that, and then after you beat a boss, you get a new ability, which is kind of cool, I guess. It's kind of lame as well, because like a lot of the abilities, you'll never find a use for them. Like, the first ability you get is the ability to like splat harder, I guess. Like, you can do a jump and a splat attack. It's like, you don't really need to ever do that, because you can already do a jump attack just by jumping on an enemy's head. Or if you don't want to do, or like, there are boxes that can only be broken by that attack, like the splat attack, and like that's the only time you'll ever use it. Like, you can get a double jump as well, which is kinda like the double jump doesn't work really well. Like, sometimes it just didn't work for me, I don't know why. You have to time the jump well enough for the double jump to work. Like, you have to press it once, wait a second, then press it again. You can't just tap it twice and it'll work. And there are more levels, kind of like the bear levels, where you're riding on something, or yeah, you're riding on something. There are levels where you play as this character, Coco, which is Crash Bandicoot's sister, who gets kidnapped in the second one, I think. And she's always riding something. She'll ride like a tiger in one level, and you'll go through like a you'll go over like the Great Wall of China while they're building it, and you'll have to avoid stuff. And there's another one where she's in like a helicopter, I guess. No, it's like a biplane, and you shoot down blimps. And there are terrible levels where you play as Crash Bandicoot and he's on a motorcycle, and like he's racing, and god, those are terrible. Those are levels that I don't think any fan could possibly like defend. Like, those are just terrible. The steering is awful, the races are really bad, you have to come first in order to win, and there's very little room for error in the races. It's like the challenge is there, but it's not like a fun challenge. It's not like you're doing it and having fun doing it. You're like, oh, I screwed up again, I guess I better quit the level and start all over again. But overall, it's good. There are a lot of new kind of interesting levels. Some of the abilities are useful, like you get a bazooka that shoots fruit. You collect fruit throughout the series. They're Wumpa fruit. Now that's pretty useful. You have to use that in a lot of levels, actually. Yeah, it's not bad. I found it to be the easiest in the series. Like, it's the one where I got the most gems without really trying to. Like, I broke all the boxes and didn't die a bunch of times in a bunch of levels without really trying. Like, I was just breaking boxes along the way. Like, there weren't any, like, that was super hidden. Yeah, that's Crash Bandicoot 3. I can't remember much of the music in this one. I think they're like dinosaur levels, and those are pretty good. Those are probably my favorite levels in this game, where you ride on the back of a dinosaur and you go through like this level trying to run away from like triceratops and stuff. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, but I don't think it's as good as Crash Bandicoot 2. Like, I think after this one was kind of where the series kind of dipped off a little, and then like Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex was more like Crash Bandicoot 3, where like you have a lot of levels that aren't platforming. Like, you have levels where you're in a ball, and you're in a plane, and you're in like a ship or something, and it's like, I don't really play Crash Bandicoot to do that. I play Crash Bandicoot just to do platforming and stuff. Like, that's the name of the game. But yeah, good games overall. I would definitely recommend them, and I mean, if you want to get these, grab them on PS4, man. The Crash Bandicoot Trilogy is super good. It has really nice graphics. Like, they did a total overhaul on the graphics. I'll turn it around now. They did a total overhaul on the graphics, and it just made it really, really nice. It's just something that I definitely recommend to everyone. And even though I might have been bashing number 3 a little bit, I might have bashed number 1 a little bit, I still recommend these. These are all like 10 out of 10 games. Games that every gamer should play, so yeah, like anyone doesn't know that already. Okay, this is Zig in my house, treating you well. Have a good one. I hope to do more of these in the future. Catch you later.
That's all, folks.